off the tube and welcome back to Ohmydinosare Story Corner.
Oh my dinosaur story corner.
The series no one asked for, no one wanted, no one likes. But you know what? I just felt like reading another story. And today's story is called He Wouldn't Wipe His Shoes. This is probably the worst point in the book because it's right on the gap where the two halves stick together. So, I can read it for a couple of pages and I can swap into this chunk. He wouldn't wipe his shoes. Kenneth was always getting into trouble because he wouldn't wipe his shoes. Ah, I said it. Oh, that's the title of the story. He used to go out into the garden to play and then come straight in without wiping his feet even once on the mat. What a naughty child. So, I know it's been a while since I last did one of these. This is from the second book of Naughty Children. The theme is all the children are naughty. Will he be taught a lesson by magic or just by karma? I don't know. Let's find out. So he left muddy marks on the carpet, and you could always see where he had walked in the house because there was mud everywhere. He really was naughty. Well, there you go then. Wipe your feet, Kenneth, his mother said every time he came in. Wipe your feet, Kenneth, his aunt said when he went to see her on Saturdays. Wipe your feet, Kenneth, his teacher said to him each day at school. But did he wipe his feet? Well, let me see. The title of the story is called He Wouldn't Wipe His Shoes. So unless he's taking his shoes off and then wiping his feet, I'm going to guess that no, he didn't do that. No, not if he could possibly slip indoors without doing so. What a twist. And even when he did wipe them, oh, so he did wipe his shoes. Oh, he did wipe them, did he? Well then. Even when he did wipe his shoes, it was what his mother called a lick and a promise. Okay. Now, one day, Kenneth and the other children in his class were told that there was to be a match between the 5 classes to see who could win the most marks for good manners. The teacher wanted to find out which was the best mannered class, and all the children were told they could win marks for their own class by trying hard. What sort of manners will count for marks? Asked Harold. That's what Harold sounds like. Well, said the teacher, all good manners will count, Harold. Boys raise their caps to ladies. That is good manners. Children give up their seats to grown-ups in buses and trams. That is good manners. Saying please and thank you, standing back for others to pass, opening doors for grown-ups, never pushing, wiping your shoes. You see where this is going? Neither do I. Shutting doors quietly behind you. All these things are good manners, and you can win marks for them this week. But how will they know if you gave up your seat for someone on a bus? This is just at school. This doesn't make any sense. Suppose we don't do something we should? Asked Harold. Well, I'm afraid bad manners will make you lose a mark, said the teacher. Harold gazed round at Kenneth. Ah, he said. I guess you'll make us lose all the marks we earn, Kenneth, by forgetting to wipe your feet every time you come in. Bother you! Such language. Golly God, bother you? What? That's all your marks gone for that. You can't go saying bother you. Kenneth went red. I'll try, he said. He did try, but he had forgotten for so long that he really couldn't remember even when he tried. So he lost a great many marks each day for the class, and they were very angry. It's too bad for you, said Harold to Kenneth. Is Harold the only other person in this class? Is it just Harold and Kenneth? Said Harold to Kenneth at the end of the week. Our class is bottom for good manners, and it's all because you keep losing us marks for not wiping your feet. Horrid boy! That was rude as well. Harold is the rudest boy. Like, Kenneth is just not wiping his shoes. Harold's being really mean. It's a real personal insult. Bother you, horrid boy. That's not kind. Kenneth was unhappy. I don't blame him. How dreadful to try hard over something and still not be able to remember. So he's not naughty, he doesn't mean bad. He ran home wondering how he could cure himself. That afternoon, Mother sent him to the cobbler's with a pair of shoes to be mended. Ooh. The cobbler was a little man, bent double over his shoemaking, and he was so old that he had even forgotten himself how old he was. I mean, this is the 1940s, so he's probably like 50. Kenneth thought he must be about 100. Yeah, he's about 50. Good afternoon, little man. It's Evil Twin. Good afternoon, little man, he said to Kenneth, peering at him from behind thick glasses, 3D glasses. And how's the world using you? Not very well, said Kenneth, and he told the cobbler how he had made his class bottom for the week. All because he simply could not remember to wipe his feet when he came in. Very bad, said the old cobbler. Don't you know that damp mud is bad for shoes? Ah, you should take care of shoes, my boy. If you had made as many as I had of good stout leather, you would be very careful of them. Yes, you would. Now, I remember when I was a lad, my brother was the same as you. Never wiped his shoes once. Ah, but he was cured. Was he? Asked Kenneth. How was he cured? Could I be cured too? Yes, for sure, said the old man, and he chuckled like a hen clucking. I don't know. That voice doesn't sound like a chicken. Now you see, young man, take this tin home and clean your shoes with this with this bit of yellow polish I put inside. Clean all your outdoor shoes with it, and I tell you, you'll soon be cured just as my brother was. Ho ho ho! Ho 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 ho! Ho ho ho, boy! He was cured all right. But he wouldn't tell Kenneth how, and the boy ran home with a tin of yellow polish, wondering whatever cure it could be. He didn't really like to try it, but at last, thinking that it couldn't possibly hurt him, he took all the outdoor shoes and boots, found a shoe brush, and set to work to polish his shoes with the yellow polish. And then his shoes were yellow, and so he could never wipe them again. His shoes shone brilliantly. It was a marvellous polish. Kenneth slipped on his outdoor boots and went to afternoon school. Of course, he quite forgot to wipe his feet as usual. In he went, stepping on the mat, but not rubbing his feet at all. He was a bit late. He took his place and found his book, and then he noticed that his feet felt dreadfully uncomfortable. His shoes seemed to be growing smaller and smaller. Tighter and tighter. At last poor Kenneth couldn't bear them on his feet. He undid the laces and took off his muddy boots, hoping that the master would not see him. And what do you think happened? Why, as soon as his boots were off, they ran over to the mat by themselves, making a tremendous clatter. When they got to the mat, they wiped themselves thoroughly, scraping all the mud off as carefully as could be. Everyone looked up when they heard the clatter, and how they stared when they saw Kenneth's big boots running over to the mat, dragging their laces behind them. Then they began to laugh. How they laughed! Even the master laughed till the tears ran down his cheeks. Ho ho ho! Ha ha ha! Look at those boots! Kenneth can't remember to wipe his own boots, so they're doing it for themselves. For shame, Kenneth! Ho ho ho! Ho hoba! Kenneth went very red. He hated being laughed at. He sat looking very ashamed until his boots, now perfectly clean, came clattering back to him. He put them on. They seemed quite the right size now. Everyone was talking about the wonderful boots that Friday afternoon, but Kenneth didn't want to join in. Here's a picture, by the way, of a picture of the boots. As soon as his boots were off, they ran over to the mat by themselves. Oh no! I don't know which of these people is Kenneth. Is there someone with no shoes on? I think that's him looking sort of sheepish there. Oh no, I'm Kenneth. That's Harold there. Oh guys, it's me, Harold! Okay, so where were we? He ran home and burst in at the door, longing to take off those dreadful boots. But as soon as he got in, he saw his Uncle George there. "Hello! Hello!" said Uncle George. "Here comes the thunderstorm!" Okay, Uncle George, calm down. Kenneth ran to hug his uncle, for he was very fond of him. He quite forgot to wipe his feet, of course, but it wasn't very long before his boots reminded him. They suddenly grew so tight that Kenneth almost squealed out. He undid the laces hurriedly, and oh dear, those boots ran out of the room all the way down the hall to the front doormat, where they could be heard busily wiping the mud off. Why is he walking through so much mud? He's just walked home from school. Did they not have like solid pavements back then? I don't know. Busily wiping the mud off the soles and heels. Really thick mud. Oh, what was this one? "Hello! Goodness gracious me!" said Uncle George in the greatest astonishment. "Well, I never!" said Mother, and they both began to laugh until they cried. Kenneth didn't laugh. He felt very angry with himself. Well, so things went on all the weekend. It didn't matter which pair of outdoor boots or shoes Kenneth put on, they had all been polished with the yellow polish, and they each ran out to the mat to wipe themselves if Kenneth forgot, which he usually did. By the time he got back to school on Monday, the word had got round that there was something very exciting about Kenneth's shoes. And all the boys and girls were longing to watch Kenneth forget to wipe his feet. But for once, you know, but for once, in a way, Kenneth didn't forget. What does that mean? For once, in a way. Did he forget or didn't he? For once in a way, Kenneth didn't forget. No, he really remembered, and he stood on the mat wiping his feet just as all the others did. But poor Kenneth! He had left just a little bit of mud at the back of his left foot. And the boot knew it all right. It grew tighter and tighter until Kenneth had to take it off. Then away to the mat it ran, and wiped itself well till the tiny bits of mud had gone. "This is dreadful," thought Kenneth. "Not only have I got to remember to wipe my feet, but I've got to wipe every speck of mud off too. I shall never do it, and all my life I shall be laughed at because my boots and shoes run to the mat to wipe themselves." Well, I mean, you can just get new boots eventually. You're what, like 9, 10? You'll grow out of them in like a year at least. Oh, how I wish I had never told that old cobbler about myself. Well, the yellow polish lasted until Kenneth's feet grew too big for his boots. Well, there you go. Then he had to have new ones, and he begged the cobbler not to rub any more of his strange polish on them. Oh, very strange polish. Oh no. "Ah, but are you sure you're cured?" said the old man with his clucking chuckle. "Quite sure," said Kenneth firmly. "I haven't forgotten to wipe my feet for ages, and I'm sure I shall never again. So please let me have my new boots and shoes without any yellow polish at all, or I'll just go get them from someone else." "Very well," said the cobbler, and he kept his word. Kenneth's new boots and shoes were the same as yours and mine. Um, so yeah, I don't know. That shoe? What's a shoe? I think they're just not. They're just generally shoes, probably. Kenneth's shoes were the same as yours or mine. Um, and so far, Kenneth has not forgotten once to wipe his feet on the mat. His mother has still got his old boots and shoes, and she says she is waiting to give them to any boy or girl who has a bad memory for wiping feet. So let me know if your mother thinks you need them. And if they're your size, you'd better have them. Well, I mean, that's... so yeah, that was a story. What did we learn today? Wipe your shoes when you come in the door. Or just don't walk in the mud. Then it won't really matter. That was a bit of a silly story. What was the point of that? I mean, I know they all are. Uh, was Kenneth naughty? More just forgetful. It's not the worst one though. For sure, I think what was the worst one? There's one that really annoyed me. I've forgotten which one it was. The boy, he could have anything he wished for, and then he wished to be the other boy. But that was a story. That was a video that happened. I hope you enjoyed. Thank you for watching, and have a nice day.
Tell me a story, oh ho ho. It's not nearly Christmas, oh ho ho. It's a story, oh ho ho. I don't like this, oh ho ho. That is what Sewage said when he watched this, oh ho ho.
We're about halfway through the stories now, so that's nice. Will we ever get to the end of this book? Will I live that long? I hope not. Bye.